Welcome to Wilder Wolves Hall of Fame Mode Fandom. My name is Wilder Adams, and this is the first Wolves Fandom Friday that we've had in a few weeks. So it's pretty good to get back into the rhythm of things. So today, to reintroduce that topic, I am joined by Brady, Leiser, and Andrew Neuruer, who also, by the way, runs a pretty big X platform. T Wolves Talk. Let's talk Wolves. So first of all, how are you guys doing?
Ready to talk some ball. It's been too long.
Yeah, it's August. It's time. It's time to talk ball.
Yeah, man. I always joke about it like every episode the last like couple weeks. Like you have to really kind of like pull your hair out to find anything to talk about right now. But you know what? It pushes the creativity a little bit. But in this episode also we have some news, I guess, that came out the last few hours because the Timberwolves, their schedule is officially out. We know all the Christmas game stuff as of recently, plus the national TV games and the jersey stuff. We're going to talk about all of that in this episode. But before we do that, every single Wolves Fandom Friday episode, I like to start out by asking each person on the show their Hall of Fame fan moment, which is basically the most special moment they've had as a Timberwolves fan, the story that stands out to them, whether it's good, bad, represents the difficulty of being a Timberwolves fan sometimes, or you know what, you get the occasional taste of glory once in a while. So Brady, I want to ask you first, what is your Hall of Fame fan moment?
Well, I don't want to say I'm an icon within the Timberwolves community, but I had my moment of fame. I am known as the Nas Reach shower curtain guy. A few years back, I was gifted a coupon to this very random website that produced like tapestries and all these different things, and I won it online. I can't tell you where or how, but I did. And I was thinking, what could I do with this that would just really live up to everything I embody? I wanted to get something extremely meaningful. So of course I purchased Nas Reed shower curtain, which I then tweeted out. I tagged Jake's Graphs, and the rest is history. I believe Nas is knowledgeable of my Nas Reed shower curtain. In retrospect, it is a little creepy, but it's pretty legendary stuff. So
I could only imagine just like the first thing you do in the morning, you get up, you go to bed, and the first man you see is Nas Reed right there, all
yep,
20 of them. And
yep.
I remember you said on that Twitter that your girlfriend didn't approve of that. So how's that
Yeah.
going? Was she accepting of the shower curtain eventually?
It never didn't ever turn into something she was a big fan of. So, but that's how it goes. Yeah.
Some things in life you just have to really just say, you know what, this is part of my life. You can't take it away from me. You just have to accept it. And you know what? If that's one of those few firm things, I think everybody in the Timberwolves community will accept that. And Andrew, what about you?
I would say sitting in the college apartment watching I guess, playing game back then of the Denver Nuggets Wolves, or the day Andrew Wiggins got traded to the Wolves. As I don't know, Brady probably knows, he's my favorite player. He still is. I mean, I have his jersey up on the side here signed, so
Sicko.
it's kind of a loser take, but yeah, he's my favorite player.
Andrew, I'm so tortured by that tenure of Timberwolves history, just the false hope that kind of
Yeah,
came with him forever. Were you like a
I
big
know.
fan of him as a prospect? Like what kind of came about
Yeah, I
that?
thought he would just change the trajectory of the franchise. Every single time he'd have a good game, I was just like, that's it right there. And then even the bad ones, I just would go on here and defend them. So yeah, it's probably not a good hill to die on.
I can't remember that, like, because I remember, of course, like the Kevin Love for Wiggins and Anthony
Yeah,
Bennett trade. Was that brewing for a long time? Did that come out of nowhere? I just like I don't remember it because I was 10.
I think it was mostly because of LeBron went back to the Cavs, and then like pretty immediately after that, that's when it kind of came through. Because there's all those talks of the Klay Thompson swap for Kevin Love and those other ones like that. But it's kind of one of all those what ifs. But the day he got traded was just a brutal day.
Yeah, that D'Angelo Russell trade, man, I thought it was going to like really push the team forward until I realized the fact that it's D'Angelo Russell. And it took a couple years to accept that.
Yeah, my college roommate had to take me out for lunch to cheer me up. I was in hell.
You know, and you know what? We were kind of I'm going to say just D'Angelo Russell. I'm not a huge fan of him as a player, so I'll just say it with full confidence that those
Blazing
next 2
hot
years
take.
weren't better. What do you say?
Blazing hot take.
Blazing hot take. I mean, he signed a $6 million contract this summer, so I think it's pretty consensus at this point on the D'Angelo Russell front.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
he's my favorite player, but I just want to admit that it was a good trade. Like, all things considered, I don't want any Bulls fans thinking I'm actually like that dumb.
all roads lead back right now, though. I mean, they're pretty good now, and you know, I think that the national media is starting to finally reflect on the reality that the Timberwolves are one of the most entertaining teams in the NBA because the national schedule of the NBA just came out today, a couple hours ago, which honestly is pretty good timing for this episode. We're recording on Thursday, day before Friday, so it gets out on a timely manner. But the Minnesota Timberwolves, their schedule came out today, and outside of the Oklahoma City Thunder and New York and California teams, Minnesota is going to have the most national media games in the NBA this year with 28 games. So my first question, I'm going to start with Brady here. What was your takeaway when you saw the schedule and saw the spotlight this team will be on?
You know, I was just really excited. I can't remember a time that we've ever even had. I mean, we could combine probably 10 seasons of Minnesota Timberwolves basketball into the number of games that they've had on national TV to the number of games that we have this year. So it's really exciting that we're getting that spotlight. Just an FU to Kendrick Perkins too. We're getting that media attention. But you just love to see it. And I can't say that I'm excited to have to go to 4 different streaming services and different platforms to watch those different games, but that's another topic for another day.
Oh, I've already bookmarked the graphic of like what days they're going to be on different stations.
Yep.
Because before it was just always Tuesday, Thursday, TNT, Monday, Wednesday, ESPN. That was way too much going on.
Yep.
Yeah, I just think it's really good that the team is finally. It's been kind of a long-term process because I thought early in Anthony Edwards' career, it felt like if the NBA was very front thinking on the type of players they're going to get on national TV, they weren't going to get some of the older stars who are starting to go on fading teams and just put them on national TV, or on the other spectrum, right? Victor Wembanyama with the worst team in the NBA got like every national media game year one. And I felt like they were very just late on the Anthony Edwards thing because it was pretty clear after year one, year two, when Minnesota started to get on the rise that he's going to be one of the better shooters in the league and one of the most athletic players in the league, and most importantly, one of the most charismatic players in the NBA. So I thought I remember that third year in his career when they just got Rudy Gobert. They pulled off the biggest trade in franchise history, you could argue. They literally traded their mortgage. They traded, basically every asset they had to make that deal. And for some reason, the national media didn't catch on that year. They didn't get many national media games. And then, of course, they make the first conference finals run. They moved to 10th in the league. But now, among non-championship and New York or LA teams, they're the most watched team in the NBA. They're literally the king of flyover country now, which I think it's a really good thing. And I think it's a testament to the fact that people are really just officially on the Anthony Edwards train. And I think we knew that a couple months ago, even a year ago, but I think that this result of the national schedule really cemented that.
And it's it helps that the NBA is searching for a U.S. star to market. So I think that has to be, I think, part of the equation there. But it is obviously Anthony Edwards is going to get all the shine, and since he's pretty much the kind of star of the show. He's funny. He's everywhere. People want people want more Anthony Edwards. So
That's a pretty heartbreaking part of it too. Not in like it's not heartbreaking that Anthony Edwards is getting a ton of attention, but you made a great point about the American aspect of it because of course the other big American star at this point in time who's fairly young is Jason Tatum, and he's going to be out all year. And I don't want to say that's like another reason why Minnesota has more national media games, but you can kind of connect that to the reality like the NBA is trying to get their American stars' attention. And you look at the next future stars, right? Like Cooper Flagg's a rookie still. And outside of that, I mean, John Morant, his brand is kind of fizzed out. Zion Williamson, his brand is kind of fizzed out. What do you guys think of just like to follow up on that point, the emphasis not only on like the Timberwolves, but Anthony Edwards and kind of the national media face of the NBA standpoint?
I just think that it's incredible how obviously he's extremely charismatic. But even piggybacking off of that, you look at how important it's been for him. There's all these new stories about how he wants his teammates to be in Minnesota. He wants his teammates to be there practicing. He wants all the guys to be together, gaining chemistry. And you don't always see that from the top guys around the league, which is just incredible. It's really fun to see. And so I think that having that spotlight on him, but still trying to keep it in Minnesota, trying to always deflect onto other guys. You look at the, calling over Nikhil, calling over Jaden in press conferences post game. You look at all those things. He's really not trying to make it about him. Pretty incredible. And I think that honestly, that's part of the allure of the guy is, he's a stud. He's obviously extremely arrogant in himself, as most basketball players should be, but he also has that soft side of he's always excited for his guys. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see. And I think that's playing a big part of his allure from the national media.
It's really hard not to watch Anthony Edwards and kind of feel that old school style that you hear arguments on social media that the NBA has gone softer and there's just not that same appeal with intense, just high level two-way athletes. But Anthony Edwards is definitely among all players in the NBA who are under the age of 30, the closest I would say to that, that hallmark right there. And Cooper Flagg could get there where he's the, intense two-way player. We'll see how he goes. He might be the next closest thing to that. Of course, Jason Tatum, who won't be playing this year, but Ant's got like a really big opportunity. I would say not only for the Timberwolves just brand, but just like having that entire spotlight in a market that people kept trying to get the team out of, right? I mean, 5 years ago, we have like, was it like Sessions or somebody who was like trying to own the Timberwolves, and then he tried to move the team to Vegas, and there were some parties like that because you couldn't have a Timberwolves team, be good in the Midwest with that attention. I just think that was clearly debunked, and it was a dumb take. Like the NFL, the
if you build it, they will come, and they came. The fans came out of. Well, I mean, we knew that from the KG run that the Timberwolves fan base was there, but you look at now. I mean, it's extremely passionate fan group. You look at the number of, you look at the ticket prices right now. I mean, holy crap. It's unbelievable. Just to get in, you're paying $124 on some of these games. So it's pretty cool to see. And it's incredible to see what a young superstar like Anthony Edwards can bring out of even what's considered to be a small market, which isn't really that bit small of a market in the grand scheme of things, but it's pretty cool to see.
Andrew, you've been creating content for the Timberwolves a long time, and you've definitely been very, intimately involved with watching the growth firsthand. What was your just, feeling just being able to see the team go from that point where everybody's saying they can't be in Minnesota because it's small market and no one goes to the games to just now, like what Brady said, the games are packed and, they have one of the most watched stars in the league. What's that been like?
It's been fun. I mean, I started writing, I think, for like Dunking with Wolves, like right out of high school. So that was your prime years of just terrible basketball. But in a weird way, it's like it's sometimes kind of fun to like watch those bad teams just because like that's like what fans are craving for. Like they want to hear you talk about the prospects, the younger players, anyways. So in a weird way, it's kind of there's always something to write about in that sense. But now that they're good, it's just kind of people are more focused in on it, and it's easier to kind of gain that kind of engagement just because of that. And I think they're doing a really good job with the new owners and stuff, just actually like catering to the fan base with like even something super small, and who knows if they'll even do anything with it, but just like the survey that they put out there, I think that was just like a really interesting way of engaging the fan base.
Could you elaborate on that survey for people who didn't see it?
Yeah, so essentially it was for both the Wolves and the Lynx, and they kind of just asked each fan whether or not like how strongly do they feel about this, how would you attend more games, what would you like to see in the future, stuff like that. So a lot of it was just kind of like, would branding change your opinion on it, would getting a new arena, etc. So it was really kind of just more about like making it accessible. And so even just now that they're actually good, I mean, you're starting to see just that kind of impact it has now on just kind of fan base is more people are trying to get the product, but the problem is obviously there's too many blackouts and stuff like that that the NBA is facing. But
And
I
I
mean,
love
back then that wouldn't have probably been a huge talking point because most people probably didn't really care to actually watch your typical 25 win team.
And I think you made a really good point about how they're so just integrated with trying to figure out what fans are wanting for just the team, not only on the court, but the presentation, the marketing. And I think is a great way to transition to another topic, because last week, a little bit ago, we saw the brand new jerseys, which they're not brand new, but they are literally returning what I would say are my two favorite jerseys, in Timberwolves history in a lot of ways. The Prince Edition jerseys from the 2018 and 19 season, we kind of used that on a 36-win team. So finally using it on a decent team, that coming back, as well as the vintage, very well-known, darker Timberwolves jerseys with like the trees on them. So when you guys saw those I keep saying brand new, just the return of those iconic jerseys, Andrew, I'll start with you. What was your just thought on that?
I'm really big. Obviously, it's not even a hot take. The trees, so that's gonna be really sick just to see Anthony Edwards wear that. I think they'll look even better. I want to see them actually because I don't remember them doing in the past. They didn't change the court. They didn't. At least that was more. I feel like something they've done a lot more recently. So I really want to see kind of that throwback court they put on there. But for the Prince ones, it might be a hot take, but they're actually like one of my least favorite jerseys they've ever worn.
I disagree on that one. And
I don't know. It's maybe it's just like my brain can't process that they're wearing purple, and maybe that's just like a stupidity thing. But they just have never been my favorite.
I wish they did a crossover between the Vikings and Timberwolves, by the way, now that I think about it. That'd be kind of fun branding where you have like some Vikings elements on the Timberwolves jerseys. But no, I just think like the pregame stuff with like the Prince and the intro and like the purple cord and the contrast between like the purple, pink, and black. And I don't know, man. I think they're pretty fire.
Maybe they'll grow on me because they'll be obviously, like you said, they'll be better. It's not respect to Taj Gibson, but it'll look a little better on some of the players now.
Who are other players in that team that wore those jerseys? I'm trying to think. Was that the Jared Bayless year? Was that the year after?
Was Jared Bayless he wore the white ones, didn't he? The white Prince jersey.
Yeah, because that was the year Jimmy Butler, wasn't it? That was a Sixers trade. So that would have been the Rocco season, like right before.
Yeah, that's a scarring year. I hopefully it's just the trauma from that drama, because that was like the worst year.
I can get back to you after they have a more than likely a more successful season. Obviously, knock on wood, no injuries. But
Brady, what was your takeaway?
Yeah, I think Neuruer's wrong. Just flat out. I think that I think I'm preaching to the choir when I say, especially doing the black jerseys, is like the easiest win ever. I mean, it's the lowest of the low hanging fruit when it comes to winning over the fan base. Everybody wanted them. Nobody was happy when they went away. It kind of speaks to the new ownership group in general of saying, hey, we have something really easy, a really easy win in front of us. Let's do it. They're arguably the best jerseys in Timberwolves history. I think that the Kevin Garnett jersey that Neuruer has in the background is probably my personal favorite. But
yeah, the blue and green ones are easily the best ones. I think the trees do come close second.
Yeah. And hey, maybe in the future, if we were going to do a little trees crossover with the blue greens, that would be, I would quite. I think my money would be in their hands very quickly if that were the case. But when it comes to the Prince jerseys, I think that honestly, it's about they had that run with the city jerseys back in a while, and so many of them have strayed so far away from really anything relevant to the cities. It's just like, oh, this jersey looks cool. Whereas the Prince jerseys actually kind of mean something, which is fun. And I think that is really exciting. And, I'm personally a Packer fan, so I don't know about doing a Viking crossover, but it is a little bit low hanging fruit. I don't know if you're going to be able to get that past the lawyers, but might be kind of cool.
Yeah, you're probably right on that. That's probably a pretty complicated process if I had to guess, getting those crossovers. But yeah, I entirely agree. I think just the Prince culture part of it, and there's a part of me going back to the jersey. I'm not reporting anything. This is just pure speculation. I just think it would be so cool on one of those vintage jersey nights. Just Kevin Garnett surprises the world and he's there. At the bare minimum, if he retired his jersey on one of those nights, that'd be even better. But if he just showed up and nobody expected it, I think that would capitalize on the hype to like the fullest extent.
Yeah, and you got to do it in you have to really carefully pick that game too. When the team needs it, or when they absolutely need the crowd to be dialed in.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's one of those like, can you plan that like improvise enough to like see the implications of the schedule and then just put it that night, or do you have to like say, okay, he's going to be here on January 18th and nobody knows what happens that night? I don't know. That's tough logistics wise.
Yeah, I think they'd probably want to build and just from a marketing standpoint, I bet you they would easily be trying to market that one a little bit harder. So you probably couldn't.
I agree with that. And let's transition back, because I was actually going to do that topic a little later, but it felt like we were building into the jersey conversation with that, because we're going to go back to the schedule a little bit. And what we're going to do is we have a really fun, quick exercise. We look at the 82 game schedule, and the way this is going to work, it's going to be kind of like a draft where, one of you guys, I'll get the third pick, but somebody's going to pick their favorite game, and then somebody will pick their favorite remaining game, and we'll just go back and forth until we have our 9 favorite games to anticipate so far this season. Between you guys, who wants to first pick the most?
I do.
Okay, Andrew's got it.
Okay, obviously, I'm just going to take the easy one. It's the Christmas Day game against Denver. Every game against Denver is fun. It's every single one of them. So, especially with being on Christmas, the only downside is obviously it's at 9:30, and I will stay up that late, but I am not a huge fan of those games in general.
Yeah, that game's gonna be really interesting. Of course, it's Christmas, second year in a row it's Christmas.
Yeah.
And might be the only time in NBA history in which the Timberwolves have a Christmas game and the Celtics don't. So that's going to be historic in its own way. Of course, Boston would have it if they were healthy. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting game, obviously. I mean, both teams could be.
Yeah, you can put that game in the middle of February, and that'll still be just as exciting, but it has to be done because it's Christmas.
And how many times have we beat them in a row? Like 7 times in a row now? Like we kind of own them?
Yeah, it was like 6 or 7. It's becoming too easy.
Counting Summer League 8?
Don't clip that.
Someone's clipping that 100%. Brady, what about you, number 2?
All right, I'm going to cheat a little bit, and I'm going to pick 2 games back to back because.
Okay, that's cheating, bro. That's cheating. Draft for a reason.
Hear me out.
Okay, he's going to take my game, and I'll be pissed.
January 8th and January 10th, Cavs home away. I think that is going to be an awesome 2-game series. I love 2-game series in the NBA. I think that it is an awesome way to see where your team is, especially when they're against really good teams and not against the Utah Jazz in January like we had last year. But it's a really good way to gauge where your team's at. Those games are going to be really, really fun. Hopefully, it's in January, so we're not going to be that is kind of peak NBA injury season. So fingers crossed that we're going to have full squads with that. I hope I can get away with my 2-team pick, but that is going to be an incredible 2-game series, and I really look forward to that.
That counts. I'll say that counts. That's okay. I was worried you're going to do something like, I'm going to pick this one on the 8th, and then I'll pick this one on the 22nd. I'm like, no, that's cheating.
Yeah,
but
that's
back to back. I mean, the Cavs look like they're probably the favorite in the East too. So seeing how you stand not only against the West, but I would say the Mount Rushmore of the Eastern Conference as well. And my pick, which I would have probably picked number 2, is still available. And my next pick, I just want to make sure the schedule is right. Give me one quick moment. It's the home and away dynamics that keep throwing me off. Okay, this one's a little later in the season, okay? But I'm going to go and I'm going to zoom down because I believe this is the first time these two teams are meeting in the Timberwolves Stadium. And I'm going to be very curious about that March 25th game against the Houston Rockets at home. Couple dynamics. Number one, of course, it's the final 10 to 12 games of the year. So seeding implications will be significant. And I think there's a really good chance that Houston is going to be very much in that conversation with Minnesota. That game could very much matter. But the second part of that is Kevin Durant just said he didn't want to go to Minnesota. A lot of fans were starting to get excited about the concept of Kevin Durant and Anthony Edwards. I think some people I know who are fans, they feel kind of, hoodwinked, led astray by Kevin Durant because in February, it sounded like he was happy to go to Minnesota. And then in June, all of a sudden, not only does he not want to go there, he doesn't list them, doesn't want to extend long-term, it sounded like perhaps, just no interest. And I think Minnesota fans are passionate because we feel like we should be a desirable destination now. And KD, who literally walks in every team in the NBA, still said we're not good enough for him. So I'm just curious to see how fans react to when Kevin Durant comes in that arena, if he's favorable or not, or if people have forgotten by then.
Yeah, does he get booed? I mean, I personally think it'd be kind of lame, but
kind of would be lame. Let's just say the Timberwolves are the 2 seed. I think a lot of people would be like, thank God they didn't make the trade because, I mean, it wouldn't make a difference then. And you definitely lose out on a Shannon or Dillingham. And I think if Minnesota is at that point of the year and they're really competitive, a big part is those two are showing up. So I'm just very curious to see just how that game is going to go for a lot of reasons. And Andrew, what's your 4th pick?
I'm gonna take another easy one. The first game, I'm trying to look at it as fast as possible. Oh, it's like right next to the Christmas game, the December 23rd against the Knicks. Cats game back home. I went to the first one that he obviously came back to Minnesota for, and I still feel like it's gonna be a little weird, even just like having him back. It's still gonna. I'm sure he's gonna get a huge warm reception and everything like that. So, and hopefully they actually play better this time. I don't know how much some of the motions there played in a factor in there, but that was a terrible game. His first game back when he dropped like, what was it, 30 something plus 40, whatever it was. And then we lost by like 40 or 50. It might be a little bit of exaggeration, but I remember it being really bad.
He shot like 80% from 3 that game too.
Yeah, it was an insane amount.
Yeah, that was tough. That was tough, but you know what? Both teams made it to the conference finals, so we're chilling.
Yeah. Do I go again? Are we doing Snake?
No, just Brady transition.
All right. So with my second pick, I have Wednesday, October 24th. I think it's Wednesday. It might not be. Friday, October 24th. Even better. We have the Lakers in LA. We have Skinny Luka. This is going to be really I'm trying to see what their first game is, but I'm guessing this is probably their first big challenge of the year, unless, the NBA probably put them on a big game. to start the year. But we get to see skinny Luka. We always get the LeBron experience, and the Lakers are always fun. So give me the Lakers. I think that is going to be a very exciting game. And the Ant is going to try and throw 40 on LeBron's head as he usually does.
By the way, skinny Luka is still not defending overseas.
Yeah.
I just want to make that point. It's pretty bad out there still. So, he might score a little more. Who knows? But skinny Luka, not worried about him on defense yet. And my next game that I think is going to be very interesting is I think that November 26th game against the Oklahoma City Thunder on ESPN. Of course, they smacked Minnesota in 5 last year. And outside of that one blowout win, it kind of reminded me of that Houston series in 2018 where Minnesota stole that first home game and they won by a ton. And then Wolves fans are chanting Wolves in 6, and those were famous last words. And then OKC just kind of assassinated the team. That was unfortunate. See how Minnesota matches up against this Thunder team. I think with like Shannon and Dillingham in the rotation a little more, I think there's some hope that Minnesota has more, off the dribble pressure, which they couldn't withstand from OKC last year. How do the additional ball handlers fit against that team? And how does Minnesota's team mature relative to OKC? Can they get within the same ballpark of the team? That would be a great trend to just check on that point of the year.
It seems, was it that I'm remembering right? It was the same OKC Wolves game where they put in the bench and it was just the young guys just running up and down. I think hopefully with obviously the few subtractions from the team this year, there'll be a little more of them playing. So I think we could probably see potentially some more of that, but obviously that's dependent on how they actually look leading up to that. Because I mean, I'm a Finch backer, but I think he had his reasonings for obviously not playing Dillingham, which I was cool with. But
yeah, we saw that 25-point comeback, like you said. I mean, that was Terrence Shannon, that was Rob Dillingham.
Yeah, it was all the young guys. And maybe it's like if they look good, they're going to be up and running. Like obviously the starting lineup is not really much for putting pace into the game. So something they probably need against the OKC team, kind of get them off of actually setting their defense and everything. Not that it might not matter. Their defense is pretty elite in general.
Yeah. What's your next pick?
That is a great question. Let's see. I kind of want to do kind of those sicko ones of just like Charlotte being on the schedule, just because it's just fun to go on Twitter and just start tweeting about Ant and LaMelo, even though it's obviously pretty clear at this point. But I'm going to go with, I'll do whatever the Milwaukee one at home is. I'm trying to find it, but I'm too lazy to keep scrolling. The print is a little too small on my computer right now. I'm taking the first home game, whatever that one was, just because that one's always really fun when Giannis, I know their team kind of is a lot less, but you have Giannis coming to town. Obviously, that's always a big one. And then just the stadium is always packed just between Wisconsin and Minnesota fans. And there's not like a huge like hatred for these two teams. So I know just like in general, I've been to one Milwaukee, Minnesota game, and it's always like really electric in there. So it has to be a home one. The away one's not as fun, obviously, but that's my next one.
I think that matchup is like such a pure example of why they should be in the same division, same conference.
Yeah.
So ridiculous
exactly.
that the closest team is Oklahoma City in the division. It's so
yeah,
stupid.
because you can't really pick a rivalry. It's like, yeah, Denver is our biggest one, but honestly, like if they move conferences, I probably would never think about them that much again.
No. I mean,
Surely.
you got
Go ahead.
Say Brady?
I was gonna say, and surely it's not motivated by us wanting the Wolves to be in the East. I mean,
None of it.
No.
moving from Luka and Shea and Jokic to Giannis, which is still scary, but then like Paolo and Cade, cool.
Yeah, I want to hate Detroit more. I want to like hate on Cleveland and stuff like that. Like, give me some of those like really close proximity teams.
Yeah,
I want to feel a rivalry.
I want to hate on the Bulls, man. I want to hate on the Bucks. I want to hate on the Pistons, man. Like, bring football.
I want to hate those teams. Yeah.
Plus, Minnesota's got the most travel in the NBA. It doesn't make any sense why they're in the West. So
it's not even just obviously Western Conference is more superior, but just a traveling in general, like you have to move it.
Yeah. Expansion, NBA. Hurry up, bro. Hurry up. But all right,
Yeah.
Brady, what's your next pick?
This is kind of a sicko pick, but I think it's going to be a really good game to show where the team is at maturity-wise, and I'm really high on this team. So I have Wednesday, December 31st, 2 p.m. matinee against the Hawks.
I like that pick.
I'm very high on the Hawks. I think they're going to be really good this year.
Top four.
They're either maybe they're either going to be really good or really bad in typical Hawks fashion.
Or just 500 because that's been the Hawks forever.
Yeah.
So
obviously you have Ant being from the Atlanta area. That also feeds into things. But I think the biggest thing is in the past, our team has absolutely stunk in matinee games and games on New Year's. And I think it's going to be a really good reflection of where our team is at from a locked-in level, a maturity level. And I think it's going to be a really fun game. Hopefully, I'm really hoping it's going to be a really fun game because if we look at the history, it would be a very safe bet that Atlanta would win this game based on how we have performed in matinee games and in the past on New Year's. I think we got absolutely destroyed on New Year's last year. But yeah, that's my pick. It's true sicko stuff.
yeah, that I don't know. I agree with you with the Hawks. I just think that they're so balanced. I think the only thing that could hold that team back is injuries, which is very possible when you have, KP and you have Jalen Johnson coming off of an injury, and you look at the top-down dynamics. Plus, underrated storyline, Nikhil Alexander-Walker. Hello again.
I didn't mention that. I mean, we're gonna have Nikhil back. That's gonna be a love fest in itself. But
yeah, let's retire his jersey while we're at it, man. Let's just do it. You know what? But I like that pick. I like that pick. And now we're kind of at that point where it's like a lot of cool games trying to figure out like how much they're valuable and they're not, and et cetera, et cetera. We'll know a lot of context once we see how the team plays out. But my last pick is kind of just off of like vibes and the fact that I have my eyes on this player anytime he's on the television screen. But I think one game I'm really interested in isn't a national game, but it is the San Antonio Spurs on November 30th. And every time I watch San Antonio, I just want to watch Wemby. And of course, the Spurs have like a quadrillion point guards, and we are wondering if we have one right now. And that's a fun dynamic. And of course, Rudy versus Wemby, that's always entertaining. I think it's a fun league dynamic relationship between the French crossover, between Ant and Wemby being, I would say, the premier young under 25 players in the sport right now. I think the Timberwolves and Spurs, as long as they're in the same conference, will always be interconnected in some way.
Yeah, and who's better, Jan Berenjay or Wemby?
Oh, Berenjay, duh.
And don't even forget the Jordan McLaughlin revenge game. I mean, come on.
You might hit a three, bro. You might hit a three.
So, calm down.
I promise you he won't turn the ball over because he's pretty freaking good at that.
Yep.
So, yeah, Jordan McLaughlin's vibes, man.
Yeah. All right. I guess it's probably my turn again. I've been fighting. Are we done?
I think that's the last pick. Yeah, if you want to cap it
off. No, I'm good.
4 rounds?
I thought we were doing 4. I totally misunderstood.
4 rounds. We're gonna get really sticking with this. Do 27 rounds. Get 81 games.
My next one was Orlando. Just wanted to make that clear.
That's a good pick. Let's close it off with Orlando.
I was gonna pick the what are they, the Guangzhou Long Lions
preseason
15th preseason game.
Guangdong Lions, is that what they're called?
The Guangzhou.
I don't. What are they called? I actually don't know.
Guangzhou Long Lions. Yeah, or Loong. I don't know. At 2 Loong.
Okay,
let's fact check them.
Yeah, I think
I looked them up. They don't really have any fun names. Sometimes you get your Jimmer Fredets and stuff like that with those games, but
I think I think my brain accidentally programmed the Shaq meme where he goes the Guangdong Tigers, ni hao. You know that video?
Yeah.
I think I actually legitimately took his pronunciation fully, so I'll actually verify that later. But to close out the show, since we got 10 different games to be excited about this season, we're just going to close out and react to 2K ratings because what else is there to talk about? So Anthony Edwards, the top 10 3-point shooters in the league, came out, and Anthony Edwards got placed. You could say number 10. He's at the bottom of the 2K graphic, but he's tied with Zach LaVine, Grayson Allen, Luke Kennard, and Sam Hauser among the top 10 shooters, and behind Isaiah Joe, Desmond Bane, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry. My first question, Brady, is this fair? Is it fair that Ant is the number 10 shooter in the league?
See, all right. This is coming from a guy that has not touched 2K in like 4 years. It's just pure disrespect. It's unbelievable. Best 3-point shooter in the NBA last year, arguably him or Steph. It's always a toss-up. You can't disrespect Steph's name. But to put Grayson Allen in the same sentence as Anthony Edwards is just unbelievable. And Grayson Allen stunk last year. He's terrible. He was absolutely terrible. And then did they watch the playoffs? Isaiah Joe, are we dead ass? Come on. I think, and I understand that you got to balance the game, you got to balance the players. 93 3-pointer at least. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I really wish I could have the argument of it's Anthony, like it's your typical, like you said, Sam Hauser, Isaiah Joe. Like, how are those guys getting the same amount of love as a guy who you can make the case should be all first team All NBA this year? So, like you said, you probably do have to balance it. You got to take some away. I haven't checked his dunk or anything like that, but I'd imagine like that. Plus, they always kind of overrate the defense a little bit too. So, you got to knock them down a little bit. You can't give them too much love.
2K ratings are just really bad.
Really bad. Ronnie's just the absolute worst.
Naz Reid's got like 51 speed on 2K. It's actually crazy. They think he's like a lumberjack with the way he runs.
Jaden McDaniel's like a 79 or something like that.
He moved up to like 82, so that sounds fair-ish, pretty fair. I would say he's an 80. Wait, no, he moved up to 84 last year. He moved up to 84.
He's definitely an 84.
That sounds right.
That's like exactly what I feel like he is, but I don't know. I remember when they had Jordan McLaughlin as a 69 overall, and I would like always bump up his attributes to make him the greatest passer of all time in my leagues. They just didn't know ball. So
I love how you can like change the height on players on 2K, and I can make like Jordan McLaughlin 7'1" all of a sudden, and then he has like the best jumper in the league, and then it's like, what do you do about him? So that's always pretty fun. But to me,
vertical Jordan McLaughlin,
generational talent, and Anthony Edwards. Back to that point, I think 87's a little low, but I understand having like a very slight reservation on the jumper if you're viewing it from very outside, because outside of last year, he wasn't, a top 3 percentile shooter in the NBA. He was kind of in a solid, not great shooter, good for a high volume player, in that mid 30s range on decent volume. And last year he started on fire and then kind of, steadily dipped and then had a pretty shooting performance in the playoffs from 3. So I think when you add all of that together, I get it. But I would also rebuttal and say Anthony Edwards was also one of those players who always adds something to his game and becomes elite at it. And I just think with the way he works, the way he trains, I just wouldn't bet on Anthony Edwards suddenly dropping back to earth as a shooter like Grayson Allen. And to your point, Brady, Grayson Allen had one great 3-point shooting season, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, that's just, we're going to keep him there. But Anthony Edwards, you make 323s on nearly 40%, and we're still skeptical. I get why there's some skepticism if you're not watching the game, but we are. I
think because he's not like a 3-point specialist, like you don't look at him, you're like, that guy's just a spot up catch and shoot guy. And maybe just from just a national perspective, I wonder how many people just like think about him and they just think about his athleticism before his actual shooting ability itself. So maybe that's kind of part of it. Not that I agree with it, but I wonder if just because he's not a spot up shooter.
Yeah, like it's not the reason why he's in the
Yeah,
NBA,
which
right?
is like it's obviously more difficult to shoot off, kind of the bounce and everything or off the dribble. But I kind of wonder how much of that plays a factor in it. But
If Isaiah Joe took 10 step back threes a game, I don't think he would shoot like Anthony Edwards. I just
no, that's what I mean. It's stupid, but
at the end of the
I'm
day,
not
it's about
surprised.
the badges. That's what they better give him some crazy badges and like step back threes and stuff like that. I don't know. I know they have 5 million badges now, and I couldn't tell you anything, but yeah, they better give him Green Machine and Deep Range Deadeye and all the. I'm listing off 2K21 badges, but
I'm pretty cooked on 2K as well. I haven't played it in forever, but
oh,
plus Anthony Edwards, like you mentioned, I mean, last year he was the best step back 3-point shooter in the league. He was near in the top on volume, and his efficiency field goal percentage on step back threes was over 58%, which is ridiculous. Ridiculous. And he like led the league in volume by a long shot. So, and everybody else in his range were like low 50s in that volume. So, yeah, I think it's low. I get why he's skeptical. And like you guys mentioned, I mean, if Isaiah Joe or Grayson Allen couldn't shoot threes, they wouldn't be in the league. Whereas Anthony Edwards can move around that. So he might get slightly punished for that and maybe in a way slightly inflated with the dunk score. He should be like a 97 on dunks, but I'm sure he's a 99 if I had to guess, even though I would say he's powerful, but you wish he dunked a little more and he had a little more creativity to very nitpick. So, yeah. Any final takeaways on this topic?
No, just that I hope that they fix the shot stuff. Maybe I'm just really bad at 2K now, but that's my only thoughts. I can't make a shot.
And make Nas Reed faster than like a 55. That is actually stupid.
asinine.
On 2K, he can't dribble or run. And that's like what makes Nas Reed the best backup big in the league. It's actually asinine. It's crazy. So, yeah, 2K ratings. I think if I actually paid attention to every detail, I'd have a stroke. So we'll move on from that and we're going to close down the show. You guys, we were talking about like a half an hour on the show, and now we're at 47. So I don't want to keep you guys on for too long. But first of all, Brady, it's great to see you again. Haven't heard from you in a long time.
Go Mustangs, baby.
Go Mustangs, baby. And Andrew, it's a pleasure to have you on, Andrew. You did great stuff with the Wolves, man, and you do good stuff with the Twins. So I super appreciate you.
All right. Yeah, I appreciate being on. It's been a long time since I hopped on a podcast, so we're knocking off the dust.
No, I feel that. And if anybody wants to come on a Wolves Fandom Friday, either as soon as next week or as we creep into the season, you can DM me on Instagram, What's on Tap NBA, on X, What's on Tap NBA, or if you want to comment on YouTube, I'll find you. We'll figure it out, and we'll get something going. But thank you guys again for hopping on. This is Wilder Wolves Hall of Fame Mode Fandom.